Good evening. Welcome to tonight's story. Sit back, relax, and unwind into the night. The story is set during World War II. Gunfire and bombing sounds could be heard for miles. The night was one of the deadliest nights, and a British soldier was running through the woods in Europe, trying to escape the German soldiers who were running after him. He had escaped from one of the prison camps and stolen one of the rifles and shot the patrol guard down. The rain was coming down hard that night, and he was shot in the shoulder. The German soldiers were running after him with their dogs and torches, trying to shoot him with bullets passing by very close to him. The soldier found a ditch which had a broken tree. He hurried and hid in it. And because of the rain, the dogs could not track the soldier properly. And the German soldier stopped and started shining the torches in all directions. The soldier held his mouth when trying to breathe, so no air could escape and can be seen by the soldiers. His heart was racing, and after a while of searching, the German soldiers heard running footsteps in the opposite direction and ran towards the footsteps. The soldier was finally able to breathe, and glad an animal had come to his rescue to lead the German soldiers away from him. The sun was nearly about to set, and after bleeding for some time, he was now dazed and thirsty. His vision was not great, but luckily for him, it had stopped raining by this point. He tried to listen for a stream or a river nearby where he could wash his wound and drink some water. He broke a tree branch and started walking with it to support him through the woods. After some time of walking, he finally heard water and saw a small stream. He was so exhausted by this point that he kneeled down and put his head into the stream to wash his face and drank from it. He started drinking a lot, and just when he was about to lift his head, his eyes opened up in fear. He saw feet across the stream, and he fell back in horror. He tried to reach for his rifle and pointed towards what was standing in front of him. He rubbed his eyes and quickly saw a beautiful young woman with beautiful white dress smiling at him. She had the fairest skin with big beautiful green eyes. She stood there holding a lantern. He yelled at her to stay back, but she took a step forward, and her feet touched the icy cold water of the stream, and she started walking towards him. She sat on the ground, putting the lantern on wet fallen leaves. She then touched his wound, and tears started to flow. She could sense how much pain he was in. She then spoke in the most beautiful, soft voice and told him to get up and follow her into her cottage, which was further in the woods. She needed to heal him and mend his wound. She told him she had some medicinal herbs she would apply and take the bullet out of him, which was still in his shoulder. He told her she would be putting herself in danger if she did that, as the soldiers would come looking for him there. She told him that she did not care about anything more at that moment than to help him. She helped him to get up and put his arm around her neck to support him walking through the woods. But this time it was quite dark, and she led the way with the lantern in her hand. They walked for some time, deeper into the woods, and finally came to a small cottage. It was an old, dark-looking cottage. The woman told him to watch his head as they entered through the small door, as the ceiling was low. She laid him down on the bed and had attended to his wound. She got the bullet out and applied some herbs on the wound. He screamed in agony, but at least he was going to live. He passed out due to the shock and pain, and she started to make a broth for him. He woke up around midnight, and by this time, the cottage was a little warmer, as she had collected more logs to light up the fireplace. She told him to keep lying down, as she made him some broth. She poured it in a wooden bowl and came and sat next to him. She lifted his head up very slightly and fed him spoons of it. She then wiped his chin. He lied there, feeling a little better, and the herbs were doing their job as painkillers too. She then sat next to the fireplace with her back towards him, holding her hands out to the fire to warm them. He then asked her in a low-toned voice, "Why did you help me?" She was rocking on a chair next to the fire, and as soon as he asked her this, she stopped rocking her chair. He could just about make out what he could see due to losing so much blood. And now, before him, sat an extremely old lady with long dark hair which had grown to the floor. Her white dress was now torn in places. Her back now had a hunch, and her fingernails were long as she tapped them on the arms of the chair. She told him, "I have not helped you yet, nor have I attended to your wound, and nor have I taken away your pain." By this time, the soldier's heart was racing. He was scared. She told him not to be afraid, as she turned her head very slightly to her right, only revealing a small part of her face, which was visible by the fireplace light. Her face was wrinkled, with broken teeth and saliva dripping down her chin. She asked the soldier, "Would you like to know who I am? Would you like to know my story?" The soldier was trembling with fear. She turned back, facing the fireplace, and started rocking the chair. By this time, the fire in the fireplace went out, and the room was pitch black. All the soldier could see was a dark figure moving back and forth on the chair. And she told the soldier the following story. She told him she was once a beautiful young woman in the town near the woods. She was only in love with one man, and he was the son of a locksmith. They fell in love and planned to spend the rest of their lives together. He showed her many dreams, and she was the happiest woman in town. All the other girls would get jealous. The closer the wedding date came, the happier she got, to the point she would sing to her way to the markets with the basket in her hand. And one day, when coming back from the market, She thought to surprise her fiancé at his house. She was giggling when she sneaked into his house to surprise him. And when she opened the door, her tears started to flow, as in front of her, she saw her fiancé with another woman. She stood there at the door, what seemed like eternity in pain. And when she regained her senses back, she started to run back away. And as she did, her fiancé grabbed her and tried to suffocate her. She tried to scream, but she couldn't, and she lost consciousness. She then remembered waking up in the middle of the forest. At night, her clothes were torn and had blood all over them. Her mouth was in a lot of pain. She tried to call for help, but she couldn't. Her tongue had been cut off, and before she could find her way back to her town, she heard a lot of people coming towards her. A large group with fire torches, shouting her name, who were searching for her. She was so relieved that they had come to find her, and she started running towards them. When she saw her father, she hugged him and started to cry. But he pushed her onto the ground with disgust and ordered the town's mayor to do what was required. Her fiancé then emerged from the crowd and told everyone that he had seen me performing witchcraft and sacrificing my tongue. She went down on her knees, begging for someone to help her. Nobody did. They all tied ropes around her and dragged her into the middle of the town, where they hung her on a pole and burnt her alive. She told the soldier that she died at the hands of the one she loved, and have wandered the woods ever since. She had seen many come and go through these woods, as she sit on the branches of the trees, or sometimes luring evil men to their deaths. But then she told the soldier when she touched him and touched his wound, she felt pain like she's never felt before. She told him that his pain was unimaginable, and that pain was the pain of a broken heart in many pieces. She told the soldier that he was a broken soul like her. She told the soldier that the woman you loved ripped your soul into pieces and left you to suffer for eternity. I died once, but you die every day, with her thoughts, her dreams, screaming at night, waking up from nightmares. You have fought many battles, but the pain of your broken heart is far greater than any war. She told him that she had brought him here to heal his pain, and that was his pain of her broken heart. She asked the soldier if he would like to see her in a true form. The soldier was not afraid anymore, as he found comfort in her pain and darkness, and he told her he would like to see her just the way she is. And he asked her to consume him with her darkness He did not want to feel the pain he's been feeling for so long anymore. She got up from the rocking chair, turned around, and they both looked at each other. He told her to overtake him with her darkness. Her darkness was his light. Good night.